Jeremy Clarkson is making headlines once again. This time, he fiercely criticized reporters at a lively farmers' protest in London. In today's video, we'll explore these captivating moments and break down every detail. You won't want to miss this incredible video that is sure to evoke strong reactions. Make sure to check it out.
Okay, let's start from the beginning.
Activists held banners with messages such as, "Taxes will ruin farms," "Support the farmer, not starmer," "Dying is too costly," "No farmers, no food, no future," and "The last straw." Clarkson and Farage participated in a large protest in central London, where farmers drove tractors into Parliament Square to demand that inheritance tax not be applied to agricultural land. "This will be the end. Please reconsider," Clarkson urged the British government.
I wanted to shoot, okay? That's even worse to the BBC. I wanted to shoot, which comes with the benefit of not having to pay inheritance tax. Now I do. But people like me will simply put it in a trust. And so long as I live for 7 years, that's fine. And as my daughter said, you will live for 7 years. You might be in a deep freeze at the end of it, but you will live for 7 years. But it's incredibly time-consuming to have to do that. And why should all these people have to do that?
According to Sky News, over 10,000 participants gathered for the demonstration, focusing on Whitehall Government Street, where Starmer's residence is located, as well as the square in front of the Palace of Westminster, where British Parliament meetings take place.
Well, no, the other reason was to raise money for public services. Well, have you seen...
Are you listening to this?
Have you tried to get a GP appointment lately?
Yes,
Right.
I just recently had a heart attack.
Okay, so you know it's tough.
Yes.
So where should they get the money from if it's not from farmers?
From farmers.
With
You hear that, everyone?
with
BBC
assets.
thinks you should be paying for everything.
Mr. Clarkson,
Okay,
you
do
know
you
it's
know
not
how
the
many
BBC's
people
view.
pay inheritance tax in this country?
It's 4% of estates.
What?
4% of estates.
4% pay inheritance tax. 96% of the population of the UK does not pay inheritance tax.
During the Conservative government, which held power from 2010 until July 2024, farmers did not face this level of pressure. This is the most significant crisis for an entire generation. I believe we are not being treated justly, and we need to demonstrate to the government what is at stake. Every farm that produces anything is valued at over £1 million. The government is spreading misinformation to the public, failing to communicate the truth, and was elected based on false promises.
After this becomes law, 96% of farmers will.
Where have you got that figure from?
Who here, can I just ask, who here is going to be unaffected by these changes? No one.
Right. Where have you got
I
the
know.
96% figure
Well,
from?
you've got 96%. Well, the same place that Rachel Reeves does, from the middle of her head.
They are here to stand by the farmers and their allies, the individuals they collaborate with. The government's proposals are alarming and will devastate our farmers, preventing them from passing their farms on to future generations and their children.
I am not expressing opinions.
Are you
I'm
sure?
literally asking you questions. You know that, Mr. Clarkson.
Right.
So, what is your message to this government?
Please back down, please.
And get the money from where?
Well, they've got 40 billion. I'll tell you where you get the... Walk into any of the offices around here. If you don't understand what somebody's job is, fire them.
And how
The civil
far-
service... Civil service is too top, you know that.
At the end of October, during the budget presentation for the upcoming year, Rachel Reeves announced an increase in various taxes and fees to address a budget shortfall exceeding £22 billion. The Labour Party minister stated that, over the past 14 years, the Conservative government has taken on unfunded financial commitments. Among those affected are owners of farms valued at over £1 million, whose inheritances will now be subject to a 20% tax. The government claims this measure will help tackle inheritance tax evasion schemes used by wealthy entrepreneurs, including billionaire James Dyson, who have been acquiring agricultural land. According to Reeves, no more than 500 farms per year will be required to pay this tax, and small family farms will be exempt. However, farmers' unions dispute these figures, arguing that the tax will impact at least 2/3 of all farms in England and Wales. Furthermore, even without factoring in land costs, a modern tractor can cost around £300,000, while a combine harvester can reach approximately £500,000.
Is starting to realise they've made a mistake, that the Treasury is driving this. The Treasury's told DEFRA to do this. DEFRA's now going, I think this is a mistake, which it is. We shall see.
You'd said before you were a bit worried that some of the things you'd said about inheritance tax in the past might be used against the wider protest.
It is being used. I said, but the only reason I said that is because I actually bought the farm, because I wanted to shoot. But you can't go around saying, I wanted to shoot, because then you get shouted at by animal enthusiasts. So I jokingly said, it's just inheritance tax, and now, of course, it's come back to bite me on the arse. But
Britain already imports half of its food. As a result, any disruptions in the logistics chains caused by the Houthis lead to product shortages. However, farmers are not willing to passively accept the destruction. They are increasingly rising up against it. They are threatening to block ports and halt product supplies to the market, which would result in skyrocketing prices and shortages. Meanwhile, the British economy is becoming more reliant on finance and the service sector. Against a backdrop of escalating trade wars, it will become increasingly challenging to purchase goods from abroad.
I'm here to support the farmers. It's that simple. So they need all the help they can get, really.
But you oppose what the government's proposing?
Oh God, yes. As I've said in the past, if she'd have wanted to take out the likes of James Dyson and investment bankers and so on, she would have used a sniper's rifle. But she's used a blunderbuss and she's hit all this lot. It was, as I understand it, it was a very rushed last-minute decision. And I think, we all make mistakes in life, and I think it's time for them to say, we've cocked this one up a bit and back down. That's my view.
In France and the UK, thousands of frustrated farmers have taken to the streets. In France, they are opposing the free trade agreement between the European Union and South America. Meanwhile, in London, their protests are directed not at Brussels but at their own government. This situation puts 3/4 of family farms at risk. The farmers aim to bring this issue to the attention of the Prime Minister by gathering outside his residence. However, Keir Starmer is once again abroad, working to form a mobile anti-Russian coalition at another international venue. He seems to want to give the impression that London has no issues other than Ukraine. Perhaps when his residents, like those in France, starts getting splattered with manure, he will realize he has made a mistake.
I haven't got a farm to pass down, but I have got a business that I've grown since I was 16 years old. So to pass that on to my child now, I'm going to get taxed on that. And actually, can he afford to take that business on? And if he has to then sell 2 tractors, for example, to pay that tax bill, is that going to be unprofitable to actually then make sure he can have a livelihood off that business?
They're so far removed from actually the business of farming and the day-to-day operation, and actually, coming back to the limit, as Caleb mentions, the business property relief. This isn't just a tax on farms. This is a tax on every small, medium-sized business in the country, which is, the backbone of of Britain's economy.
Today, the government declined to reconsider taxes, prompting people to threaten a hunger strike, although they have no intention of starving themselves. Instead, they plan to halt food production. Additionally, the Labour Party is advocating for a strategy reminiscent of Margaret Thatcher's approach to suppressing workers' unions, which initiated the deindustrialisation of Britain, leading to the near-industrialisation of Britain's duty. Now, a similar fate may befall the agricultural market. What are your thoughts on this video? Feel free to share in the comments.